welcome. You have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me is Vinny Motiwala. And viewers, this is the show where you get answers for all your stock-related queries. In a short while from now, we will open the stage to get all your stock-related queries answered by the experts, and you can connect live with us on the WhatsApp number that will be flashing shortly on the top of your screen. But before that, let's have a look at what the markets are up to. Vinny, quite muted action on the benchmark.
Absolutely. I think after yesterday, everyone is very sluggish in trade after yesterday's match, and seems like that's seen in the markets as well, right? Nothing exciting that is happening on that front as well. Indian shares, when you look at the stock market, quite subdued in trade. Look at the Nifty, yes, surely has recovered from the day's lowest point, from the red, has moved to the green. But yes, 19,800, it's below those levels. Nothing exciting there. Very, very muted in terms of a day of a trade that is coming in for the benchmark indices. Let's look at what the broader markets are doing. Are they performing anything better? Seems like a slight bit better performance that we're seeing in the broader markets. Like always, we're seeing broader markets are outperforming the benchmark indices. Nifty mid cap up 0.5%, even Nifty small cap up 0.5% in trade as well. So broader markets is what is holding on to gains. Now, what is not doing well today is when you look at the Nifty auto and the FMCG, that's a bit subdued in trade as well, trading in the red. Even the Nifty media is flip-flopping between the red and the green. So yes, these three sectors specifically are trading in the red even as of now. Let's look at pull up the charts for a pharma, Nifty Pharma, that's holding out a strong gains. We have Nifty PSU banks, that's also holding on to quite good gains over there as well. So yes, a lot of subduedness in trade, not of an exciting trading session. Few individual names are moving in trade on the back of news flow, something like an Oberoi Realty after they've entered into the NCR region. We have Talbros Automotives that is buzzing in trade at record high levels after they won some order. So on the back of this, individual stock names are moving, but nothing exciting, Shrishti, that is happening in the markets today.
Okay, so not much excitement seen on the secondary markets, but a lot of action in the primary market indeed, because this particular week is going to be really interesting as much as 5 IPOs are going to hit the markets. They are opening and looking to raise more than 7,000 crores, and one of them is the much awaited one, Tata Technologies. So on to the Buy Now, Sell Now lens, let's focus on all the upcoming IPOs for this particular week, and let's also understand from our expert that where is he eyeing and which IPO is there for you that you should also be looking at. Taking an overview, first up is definitely Tata Technologies IPO, opening on 22nd of November, closes on 24th of November, and this is the first IPO from the Tata Group in as much as 19 years. IREDA IPO is also opening. That's a Mini Ratna enterprise, the first amongst the 5 IPOs in the main board. Will be open for subscription from 21st of November to 23rd of November. The third one that we are watching out for is the Fed Bank Financial Services IPO, which is looking to raise as much as 1,092 crores, open between 22nd to 24th of November. And this IPO is supported by Federal Bank and the True North Fund, which includes a new issuance of the shares at rupees 600 crores and an offer for sale. So these are the 3 big IPOs that we are looking out for, apart from the IPOs as Gandhar Oil Refinery as well. But with this, let's also listen out to the management that we had interacted with the companies from the likes of Tata Tech, FedFina, as well as IREDA management. Let's go across and listen out to them.
Are investing very heavily to improve our positioning in aerospace, transport, construction, and heavy machinery. I truly believe that India will be the innovation hub, the platform from which the majority of product development work will be driven in the future. We believe that we are in a fantastic position to be able to fulfill that potential for Tata Technologies, for the Tata Group, and to make a meaningful contribution to what will happen to the industry over here.
We are present in 575 branches across 16 states and union territories in India. Now, every year we will continue to open branches, and the numbers of which and the specific locations we will firm up at the time we make our operating plan. But suffice to say that our branch expansion will support our aspirations and our ambitions to grow and serve the self-employed community in India.
We have a rough projection or estimate of renewable investment in the country till 2030 around 30 lakh crores. And if you go by a rough estimate of debt equity 75 to 25, then around 24 lakhs crores will be required for additional capacity. And out of that 24 lakh crore, typically 50% is expected to be supported by the NBFCs. When I talk about NBFC, the major player would be IREDA and other two major arm of Power Ministry, that is REC and PFC.
Okay, those were the highlights that came in from all the individual managements of the upcoming IPO. A lot of action that is there in the primary market. Let's bring on board our expert for today as well. And we have AK Prabhakar joining in with us to talk to us about the IPOs as well as Kunal Bothra as well. But Mr. Prabhakar, I'm going to come to you, right? You know, in terms of the IPO market, so much action that has been happening. Last week, last couple of weeks also, we've seen a lot of, listings that have happened as well. So, currently when I'm looking at just Tata Tech IPO, right, this one is coming in after a very long time from the Tata Group, much awaited as well. How are you looking at it in terms of valuations when they stack up next to something like other mid-cap IT names? Are you finding it something interesting that one should look at?
Yeah, good morning. No, we have a subscribe rating on Tata IPO. So no, we are very positive on it. And the brand also gives some premium to them. The disclosure norms are very good. So I don't think Tata Tech IPO is a good IPO to subscribe. But we need to understand. Normally, if you take the data of IPOs in the last 12 years, now the data is saying hardly 20% of the stock has given positive return after 1 or 1.5 years. That means, IPO is not for totally retail. Retail should know what is the risk factor there. So they have to study a lot of things before they invest. So it is more for institution. So they know what is the risk factor, what is the company doing. Even in single sector, each company is very different. So we need to understand the pros and cons before we invest. So there, in IPOs, we track very limited companies. We don't go gung-ho up and recommend most of the stocks. Now, we are very selective in our approach when we talk about IPOs.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Prabhakar, for helping with your take on the upcoming IPO. So definitely Tata Tech is a subscribe coming in from Mr. Prabhakar. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a very short break in this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. As we come right back, it's time to take all your stock-related queries. So stay tuned and start writing to us.
Welcome back, and you're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. And look and see the markets also, quite volatile in trade today as well. But we will get started with all your stock-related queries. And to solve your queries today, we are joined by Kunal Bothra as well as Mr. AK Prabhakar as well. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining in with us. And viewers, do not forget, you can see the number flashing on your screen. So you can send us all your queries on the number that is flashing on your screen, or even on our Twitter page as well. So do get started and send us all your queries, because I'm going to be starting with the first query, and that one is for you, Kunal. We have Indu, who has a query on Nykaa as well as Triveni Turbine. They want to take a positional trade. So at the current levels, or what level should they look at a positional trade for Nykaa as well as Triveni Turbine?
So Nykaa, I think, wait out for a correction, because I think the stock in the last 2 days has run up more than 10%. I think, if I'm not wrong, it's almost risen up from 150 to 174, 175, with the stock has made a high today. So wait out for a correction, at least back towards that 160 mark could be a good starting point for Nykaa. So that could be a point which you can keep in mind. For Triveni Turbine, I think you can start looking at buying closer to the 50-day moving average, which is, I think, at 394, 395 for Triveni Turbine. So maybe another 10 rupees drop, and you can look to start buying at those levels.
Okay, moving on then, and the next query that is coming is for you, Mr. Prabhakar. This one is from V. Mathur. He wants an advice on two counters. Firstly is Trent. He's holding 820 shares at a price of 543 rupees, not much away from the current market price. He wants to know the likely target that he could look out for if he continues holding this for the next 2 years. And he also wants an advice on Trent as well as Federal Bank. I assume that he must be holding these counters shares already, because his question is, can he sell these stocks at this point in time and reinvest later, maybe at a lower price than now?
And already it has given a multi-bagger return. So I don't know from here, what could be the return in next 2 years. The valuation is not very cheap. They need to, to sustain this valuation, they need to grow at 35% CAGR, which sometimes it is possible, but many times it is not possible. So if you are looking at 2 years, take some partial profit, balance you can hold to it. Federal Bank, we are comfortable with the valuations, and I think you can hold Federal Bank. Now, even City Union Bank is something we like. Now, after whatever RBI said, I think City Union Bank is something which will out exposure towards unsecured loan is very minimum. So I think this is one bank which will outperform in our feeling.
Mr. Prabhakar, any advice on Dabur as well? He's holding the shares from a price of 543 rupees, likely target for the next 2 years.
No, Dabur we like, FMCG, there is a slowdown. So, once it picks up, see, these are heavyweight companies where, you cannot expect more than 12% CAGR return. So, that should be your expectation. So, but we don't have a coverage to give a target price. But, we are positive on Dabur India.
Kunal, the next one is for Petronet LNG. Poonam from Punjab is holding 200 shares of Petronet LNG at 211 rupees per share, as well as, I think, that's the one they're holding. What is the view now on Petronet LNG?
See, I think after the recent correction for Petronet from 250 to now sub 200 levels, it seems like that the stock is starting off a fresh wave of a correction. I would suggest that you should look to exit the stock. There was a mild rally towards say 200, I think, till last week or so. So take that mild rally or any kind of such rallies into the stock price as an opportunity to exit.
Okay, once again a query for you, Kunal. This one is from Raja, and he wants an advice on Coal India. I know that you have been tracking this counter lately, and Raja has bought 100 shares from a price of 300 rupees. At this point in time, is that a hold or maybe book profits at 347 odd levels?
See, I think if you are looking at it as a medium to long-term investment, which means at least a time frame of 1 to 2 years, I think you should definitely look to hold on to Coal India. My sense is that the stock has confirmed a huge breakout on the weekly charts, rather on the monthly charts in terms of indicators. And typically we've seen that whenever such kind of charts shape up on a monthly basis, the stock eventually over the next 1 to 2 years manages to give steady returns in that time span. And of course, if your time horizon is higher, then I think the potential returns for the stock could, on the upside, could be significantly higher. But if your time horizon is 3 months or 6 months odd, say at max, then I think you should look to book out profits on the stock price, because possibly the stock may enter into a consolidation.
Okay. Mr. Prabhakar, this one is for you. This one is on Good Luck India as well as 5-star business. Venkat Ramana wants to know that, is it a good time to buy both these stocks for the long term right now?
Good Luck, we don't track. 5-star, I personally track the stock. They have one of the highest NIMs, and they are funding to businesses, the low ticket size between 2 lakh and 10 lakh. So there the competition is very less. So there the valuation comfort is also there. But you need to have 2-3 years view to buy 5-star business credit.
Okay, so that's the take on 5-star business. But moving on to the next query then, and this one is on Nazara Technologies. Mr. Prabhakar, what's your view on Nazara Tech? Ghosh Tata from Delhi is holding 1,500 shares. He didn't share his buy price rather, but wants an advice, should he continue holding this particular name?
This new age technology, I fail to understand because of the valuation and, government rules and regulations also. See, wherever the impact is on rules and regulation of the government, the stock, we normally avoid stocks where it is there in betting or gaming, because, that is something, it is very difficult somebody to put a number to it. So we normally avoid giving our view on this stock.
Right. Okay, let's move on to the next query. Kunal, this one is from Harvinder Arora from Bombay. It's on Moltech Packaging. They hold 75 shares at a price of 961. Should they continue to hold or sell maybe?
So you can continue to hold on, but again, not an optimistic chart for Moltech Packaging. The stock is still reeling below the 200 DMA. In fact, the stock had broken below this average, I think in the month of August when it was almost at 950 levels. That was the first point when it indicated that the trend is now reversing on the downside for the stock price. So wouldn't be too optimistic for Moltech Packaging. You can continue to hold on, no need to add further. But I think whenever the stock crosses about this 200 DMA, which is now still perched at 950, 960 levels, that could be a point where you will look to add further.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, what's your view on Star Health? Sunny from Mumbai wants to know, can he go ahead and enter Star Health at this point in time? He can continue holding it for the next 12 months.
Yeah, but that the 12 months is a bit short term for Star Health. The data says that health insurance, as a business, they are unable to make good profit. There are a lot of controversies which are coming, and regulatory headwinds also are there. So if you are a long term investor, it is okay. Our penetration in health insurance or even in life insurance, that is a hope we have that these sectors will do good. But that cannot be a 1 year view. We need to take 5-year, 10-year view on this.
Kunal, the next query is on Poonawalla FinCorp, and this one is from Tina. Okay, they are holding Poonawalla FinCorp at a price of 392. They've seen some bit of a correction. So should they look to maybe average out now, or maybe hold and wait for it to correct a bit more? Also, they bought ONGC at 77 rupees. So what should they be doing with both these stocks?
So I'll start off with ONGC. I think it's a hold on ONGC. Again, my sense is that you are a long-term investor. I think since you've bought at such significantly lower levels of 77 odd for ONGC, I think you should continue to hold on even further, because I believe that the PSU stocks, larger cap names, something which I discussed earlier like Coal India, etc., these stocks are showing multi-year breakouts for themselves. So it's the case with ONGC. So I think you should continue to hold on. On Poonawalla FinCorp, if you're looking at it as a very short-term play, I think that the near-term correction which started off last week, especially on the back of this news flow for the stock as well as many of the banking financial services name, I think that still would probably have one more leg on the downside. So I wouldn't be surprised that the stock actually maybe even retests levels of 350 or breaks below those level say over the very near term. So you should not be in a hurry to average the stock. It's a fantastic stock to have from a longer term portfolio, but if you're looking to time it in terms of average, I think you should wait out for some more time.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, what's your view on Rajesh Exports? Sushil Kumar from Trichy wants your advice. Should he go ahead and make some investments in Rajesh Exports, because the stock is in the downtrend and even after the results has seen a sharp knocking? So good time to enter this particular counter, which is already at its 52-week low.
See, we need to understand what is the risk factor in Rajesh Export. The exchanges and other regulators have asked few questions on the cash flow and the auditor report, where this company has not replied. This is there in public domain. So if there is lack of disclosure, it is better to stay away. Because the stock has corrected from 1,000 rupees to 350 rupees, it doesn't mean that it becomes a value buy. We need to know the risk factor. Corporate governance is something we need to be mindful. And if they are not going to give us the cash flow, what business they have done and what is the cash flow, then I think one has to be very careful in Rajesh Export. It is there in the exchange notification. You can go back and check NSE or BSE, typing Rajesh Export, so that we become an informed investor.
Okay, on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. Viewers, don't go anywhere, because we'll be back and we will be taking all your stock related queries after this break as well.
Welcome back to Buy Now Sell Now, show where we get you answers for all your stock related queries, and for the same today we have Kunal Bothra as well as Mr. Prabhakar with us. And Kunal, coming to you for the next query then, and this one is coming from Matthew from Kochi. He wants an advice on Eicher Motors, because the stock definitely did give a breakout in the recent times, but he's holding 100 shares from a price of 3,330 rupees. Should he book out profits at this point in time or continue to stay invested?
See, I think you should stay invested purely on the back of this breakout which had happened last week for Eicher Motors. Now, earlier the stock was getting into a major time-wise correction. I think for last 4 or 5 months, it was stuck into a range of 3,200, 3,500, 3,600 broadly for Eicher Motors. And I think after yesterday's, last week's move, where the stock managed to break past about this 3,500, 3,600 hurdle, and then surpassing, I think, if I'm not wrong, also very close towards making a new high for itself, or I think it's already done it for itself. So I think in that regards, it's a stock which you should continue to hold on, because if this multi-month, multi-year breakout pans out for say another couple of weeks also, or a couple of months for the stock, you could potentially see an upside of at least another 10% for the stock price. That could be a point where you may consider booking out profits on the stock.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, we have Bharatwaj from Coimbatore who wants to know a fertilizer stock name which is looking attractive to buy for the long term currently.
This agrochemical sector in the last 2 years have not done well. So now many companies have moved away from the chemical sector to specialty chemical. So if you want a name, which is in multiple space, then Coromandel International is there. So they have increased their capacity in sulfuric acid by 5 lakh tons, and we are a net importer India sulfuric acid that will aid them, and they are into nanotechnology. So they have started one unit in Coimbatore for nano urea and nano DAP, and nano DAP Coromandel is likely to be the leader, and their unit is likely to come up end of this year or financial year, or in mid of next financial year. So I think that is going to be something positive, but we need to have patience. 2 to 3 years will happen for the stock to perform.
Okay, moving on then, and Kunal, the next query is coming on L&T Finance. Subramaniam is holding the shares and he's already sitting at a 40% profit right now. Have two questions. Firstly, good time to book profits, and he's also looking out to invest more in this particular counter. So at this point, should he go ahead with this view to invest more, or rather look out to enter at lower levels?
So look out for lower levels, and I think that could be a point where you may invest further for L&T Finance. After this last 2 days or 3 days of gap down, and again I think similar news flow for the stock price, my anticipation is that many of these stocks like L&T Finance, etc., they would try and at least come back to their previous swing lows, or at least as a moderate medium moving averages of 50 DMA. For example, for the stock price, that is closer to 134, 135 for L&T Finance. So that could be a point where you may look to average further. You can just hold on to the existing quantity as of now. I don't expect a major correction or a change of trend for the stock price, but because of the news flow and that sudden knee-jerk reaction to the stock price, it's possible that the stock may correct by another 5 odd percentage. That could be a point of advantage for you if you're looking at investing or adding quantity further.
Okay, Kunal, I'm going to come back to you. We have Rebecca who holds 20 shares of GE Shipping at a price of 893 rupees per share. Hold or average out? What is the view on this one?
See, I would not suggest an average out at current levels, because it still seems like that the corrective wave which started off for GE Shipping from 900 to 740, 750, and then a mild bounce back. I think that corrective wave is still not over. Ideally, the stocks would probably get into a rally or a bounce like what we've seen in the last 1 week, from 740 levels to I think 795, 800 for the stock, and possibly a retest of that previous levels of 740 and a break below those levels. So I think that corrective wave, that last corrective wave may probably be still pending for the stock price. So I would suggest to hold on to the stock as of now, but not to average at current levels.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, two questions coming from Pradeep. The first one is on data patterns. He's holding 20 shares from a price of 744 rupees. What's the outlook maybe for the next 1 year on this one? And he also has high energy batteries. I'm not sure whether you track this one or not, but Pradeep is holding 20 shares from a price of 326 rupees. Any outlook on both of these names?
Yeah, data pattern is a very good stock for a long-term person to hold on to it. Now, and a high battery, we don't track it, so I won't be able to.
Okay, Kunal, this next query we have from Mali from Hyderabad. They want to know that if they can sell ICICI Bank, which they're holding at 950 rupees, and look to buy something like an Axis Bank or Bajaj Finance, is that advisable?
Well, not a good strategy, because I think all three of the stocks are struggling. So moving from one struggling stock to another struggling stock may actually not be a good strategy. I think it could be time that you may probably look to move out of that space in terms of the banking, etc., financials, and then to some other sector. I think if you are keen towards making that shift, I would suggest the likes of TCS as well as Infosys. They are much better names, more formidable charts at current levels, and my sense is that these stocks are going through some sort of a breakout as well as a turnaround for themselves. So I think it makes sense to switch from these stocks towards the IT names, just purely looking at the short-term charts.
Okay, moving on then, and Mr. Prabhakar, the next query is from Shankar, and he's interested in buying PVC and plastic pipe companies for investment. These companies have been in focus on the back of the price hikes being taken by the company, because PVC prices are increased by 1,000 rupees from today is what we understand. And any stock that is on your radar given this news and the outlook going ahead?
There are many companies, we like Astral Poly. It is our coverage stock. Prince Pipe is something we like. So these, Prince Pipe, I think, the upside is far better. Now Astral is, rightly priced. So I think Prince Pipe is something we can look at.
Okay, next query, Kunal, we have is from Anu from Gurgaon. She's holding 100 shares of GMM Pfaudler at 1,646. What should she be doing?
See, I think again that stock has gone through a corrective wave from 1900 to 1600 right now. It's been a stock which has gone through a major time-wise consolidation. I think from 2021 lows, which was I think around 1200 mark, the stock has been making higher lows, but then broadly the range for the stock in terms of support is 1200 to 1400. I would suggest that if you're looking to hold on to the stock and if you're looking to average further, then keep a level of 1400 to 1450 in mind. In case if the stock retests towards that support point, we can probably establish that maybe the stock has come back towards a major multi-month, multi-year support trend line. So I would not suggest a sell or an exit, but I think 1400 to 1450 could be a range where you can look to average further.
Mr. Prabhakar, what's your view on Bharti Airtel? Sumantra is holding 30 shares from a price of 825 rupees in almost a year that she's been holding. But can she continue to hold on going ahead as well? Any target price for the same?
See, Bharti Airtel, only two players are there, Jio and Bharti Airtel. And in the listed space, as a standalone telecom player, Bharti Airtel is the only player. So I think, the price hike might happen maybe 6 months or 1 year down the line, after which I think 20% rally is possible. So, till then you have to be patient in this company, because now till a price hike is not happening, the stocks might not perform much.
Kunal, the next one is from Surajit. They want to know RR Kabel. Is it a good time to buy this one?
Well, limited charts, but then on the recent time frame, the stock has established two support zones. So 1400 approximately is a decent support zone for the stock price. And on the other hand, I think 1500 is the breakout, which means that this range of 1400 to 1500 could be something where you may look to, even if the stock doubles into this range, that could be a point where you may look to enter into the stock. So, and I also believe that after that recent rally and this mild correction the stock has seen the last 2-3 days, there could be a chance that the stock may actually drift closer to this 1400 to 1500 band. So buy on dips is what I would advise, and you can probably complete your entire quantity in case the stock dips in this range of 1400 to 1500.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, what's your view on Lemon Tree Hotels? S. Balaji is holding the stocks from a price of 118 rupees. Any target price and holding period for the same?
Yeah, we like the stock, and it is our coverage stock, and they have started their Mumbai property, which is going to be a game changer for them. I expect 15 to 20% rally from current level also.
Okay, Kunal, this next query is on a couple of stock names that they have. Balan is holding actually, they want to know which risky stock. It's all the risky names that have come in. Vodafone Idea, IRB, JP Power, Yes Bank, Suzlon. Or any of these, or maybe buy something like a CAMS or a BSC.
Well, tough one, because I think CAMS and BSC, even though the charts are attractive, they are poised at a much elevated level. So you'll have to wait out for a correction. I would not suggest either of these smaller cap names or the ones which have been high flying. It doesn't make sense to buy these stocks at current levels, because in case if the market also gets into any kind of a shift from the small caps towards large caps, which I believe is very much possible, then you could probably be left out buying the stocks at higher levels. So my advice is to switch to large cap names, and none of them, at least on the charts, excite at current levels.
Okay, Kunal, this one is specifically for you, coming from Yuvraj, and he's holding Devyani Internationals, but sitting at a 10% loss in this one. Wants to know what to do in this one, and can he go ahead and rather make a switch to Triveni Turbine or Zensa Technologies to cover for the loss?
So Devyani International is an attractive chart, even though the last 1 month the stock has corrected. You can make that switch, but I'm not sure whether the the outlook could be extremely negative over the next 6 months or so. I think for the next 1 to 2 months, the stock may see a further correction of 15 rupees, maybe closer to 170 could be a point where I sense that the correction may get over. So I'm not sure whether you're looking to protect for another, say 8 to 10% downside into the stock price. Zensar on the other hand and Triveni Turbine also, I think as I mentioned, both are attractive charts. You can consider buying them separately, but I believe Devyani International may be closer to 170 is where you can look to buy back. So what you can ideally do is say sell Devyani International at current levels, but then look to buy back in case if the stock corrects towards 170 mark.
Okay, on that note, let's just step into a very short break. Viewers, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more stocks after this break. Okay, we do have Madhvi Puri-Buch from SEBI who is talking right now. So let's just go across and listen into what important commentaries we're getting in on that front.
Under the aegis of the exchanges, and the MIIs are an important part of this forum. But I'm very, very pleased that the progress made by this forum is tremendous. And I understand that the operational challenges that were being faced by our brokers in terms of the upstreaming circular are now pretty much resolved. I think the I's are being dotted and the T's are being crossed, but otherwise it's pretty much resolved, and hopefully we should have a notification which now simplifies everybody's lives quite considerably. Also, I'm told that since the consensus around this issue was so good and so quick, that now a list of some 50 items, so we all need to get to that half century, 50 items have been submitted for consideration into that forum for standard setting. And once again, I hear, this is unconfirmed news, rumors, but I believe that indeed significant progress has been made on most of those 50 items, and that indeed, again, operational simplification and standard setting collaboratively by the association along with the MIIs is working wonders. And I do hope that we will continue this momentum. And if there's anything after this half century, perhaps the forum would be very happy to look at that as well. So I think another round of applause for this whole collaborative effort on the part of the industry. And as I said, nothing gladdens my heart more than to see all the logos on one letterhead. May that continue to be so going forward. We have had a lot of discussion about risk, and of course today's launch is really about reducing the risk, which is the technology-related risk in the system. So we all know that technology is this wonderful thing which gives us the ability to, at a very low cost and in a risk-managed way, make life very convenient for the investor. And today's risk reduction access is a very important milestone in that risk management. And as I said, we see it as the safety net, which is there available so that people invest with confidence. So the trapeze artist does what he needs to do with confidence, knowing that there's a safety net, but hopefully will never fall and hopefully will never need to actually use it. Having said that, I would also like to take this opportunity to emphasize that this safety net is really important for people who are regular traders. They're frequent traders, where downtime of a broker, or even of a few hours or a few days, is very material to them. And if they have open positions, they are exposed to risk. But at the same time, the real power of the markets, the real power that lies in the hands of the investor is if they take a longer term view on their investments. So short-term trading has its own place. Of course, many of you would have read SEBI's research report, which talks about how in the F&O segment, Unfortunately, 90% of all individual investors lose money. So I must admit, I'm always a little confused and surprised as to why people continue to do that, knowing that the odds are not in their favor at all, and the house always wins, right? That's the saying in Vegas, the house always wins. So there's a 90% chance that the investor will lose money in the F&O segment. But we also know, and the data shows us, that if you take a long-term view of the market, and if you invest with a long-term perspective, you will rarely go wrong. There is a good, very good chance that you will be creating wealth for yourself and for your family over a sustained period of time that will exceed the inflation rate in the economy, and therefore you will actually get real rate of return on your investments over the long term. So I would urge everybody that while the safety net is being launched today, and we hope it's not used, we hope even less that there is a need for its use if the investors move more and more to a more long-term and sustainable approach to investment, so that they are sure that there is a very high probability that wealth creation will indeed happen in their hands as compared to losing money literally on a weekly and these days daily basis.
So that was the SEBI chair at a BSCUN, Madhvi Puri Bush, emphasizing the fact that one should definitely look out for long-term investment opportunities and how risky is the F&O space right now, and what SEBI, in consultation with the other players in the market, is looking out and working on new regulations at play. But with this, viewers, let's get back again to all your stock-related queries onto the Buy Now Sell Now show, and let's kickstart taking all your queries in the rapid-fire session then. And the first query that I have is for you, Mr. Prabhakar. Vishaka is holding 10 shares of Amber Enterprise from a price of 2,030 rupees. What should he do at this point in time?
Long term, we are very positive. Hold on to it.
Okay, Kunal, any advice on Man Infra? The viewer name is Saurabh. He's holding the shares from a price of 150 rupees. Wants a medium-term outlook on this one.
Looks attractive. You can continue to hold on.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, any outlook on Ratan Power? The stock has been on the roll, and Poonam is holding 2,000 shares from a price of 7 rupees 45 paise. Good time to book out profits in this one. Mr. Prabhakar, this one is for you.
Yeah, no, we don't track Ratan Power, so we will not be able to comment on it.
Kunal, any take on this one?
I'll suggest to move on to a better power name. I think CESC from the mid-cap name looks attractive.
Okay, Kunal, Girish Iyer is holding 10,000 shares of RBL Bank from a price of 255 rupees at a huge loss right now. Should he go ahead and book out the loss in RBL Bank and rather make a switch to any other name?
Yeah, I think the recent news flow for the stock has impacted the stock price. My sense is that the stock may correct further towards 220 mark at least. So either you can wait out for the entire correction to play out or switch to some other banking name.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, Manjula is holding shares of Indian Hotels from a price of 115 rupees, sitting at great profits right now. Good time to book out profits or continue to stay invested?
Hold on to the stock. The business is panning out very well.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, any take on Sula Vineyards? Arun from Bangalore has bought the shares from a price of 496 rupees. He's a long-term investor.
Long-term, hold on to it.
Okay, one more query for you, Mr. Prabhakar. This one is from Krish, and he wants an advice on Coal India, having 750 shares from a price of 239 rupees.
So Coal India is a dividend play. So if you are more interested in dividend play plus a moderate return, you can hold.
Okay, but with this, viewers, it's time's up on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now, as well as the Rapid Fire session. Thank you so much, Mr. Prabhakar, as well as Kunal, for joining us today and helping all our viewers with their stock-related queries. But with this, it's a goodbye from me and Winnie and the entire team who put the show together. Thank you so much for watching, but don't go anywhere. Markets at noon will take the action ahead.